I really don't believe he's cheating on me. I don't know. I just can't stop this train in my head.
I guess Laura found a cigarette butt in the ashtray. She saw emails. She noticed how he acted around certain women. Her gut told her he was cheating. But was he? Their fighting was constant. The connection was gone. And she was lying in bed at night Googling, how does a stay-at-home mom divorce her husband? Then he said he wanted a divorce. And this time she knew he meant it. Real wives, real marriage transformations. This is the Empowered Wife podcast. But Laura didn't want divorce. She just didn't know how to stop the nightmare her marriage had become. Then she tried something that seemed impossible. Within weeks, the fighting ended. Her husband started pursuing her again, and today their marriage is happy, playful, and passionate. So what exactly did Laura do that changed everything? She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. Stay till the end for the Try It Tonight takeaway. Laura, welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast. I'm excited you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited too. So happy to be here.
Great. Well, actually, let's hear a little bit about how you became attracted to your husband. Like, how did you know he was the one?
Oh, well, we had actually been friends for like 10 years. So he was right there in front of me, for a long time. And, we had mutual friends, and I kind of think he had a crush on me right from the beginning. We met at one of my friend's kids' birthday parties, and he found a way to get my number, and then we just started hanging out. He'd send me a text every Monday to see how my weekend was, and he'd come over and after work a couple nights a week and just hang out and have a couple beers. And, we just hung out and got really close and actually like helped each other through breakups and talking about, other relationships. So it was really, really interesting. And, there was a while after we had been friends where I was like, oh, I wonder, like, do I have feelings? Like, I kind of thought I did, but I didn't know. And then do I cross that line with a friend? We're such good friends. Do I want to risk that? And while I was trying to figure that out, he ended up getting set up on a blind date, with somebody else. And, I kind of felt inside a little jealous. So I was like, okay, well, that's telling me there's something there. And come to find out, like a month or so after they started dating, she lived about an hour and a half away. She got pregnant. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, wow. So then I knew, like, I just had this feeling like I was so sad. I love his daughter. Don't get me wrong, but at that moment it was like, oh wow, this is never going to happen for us. And I waited too long and I didn't say anything. And he came to me and told me, that she told him that she was pregnant, and, he was 38. They didn't really know each other, and he loves his daughter. He's an amazing dad. And he was just really devastated. He was actually hoping she was coming to break up with him when she came over. So it was just, yeah, but I was there for him, and I was like, okay, just get to know her, try and see if you can make it work. So I even encouraged him to try and make it work with her and at least get to know her. And he did. He stayed with her, until Zoe, his daughter, was 3 months old. And during that time, I threw a shower for them, a baby shower. I was there the day she was born. I came and saw him and his new daughter. And yeah, he tried to make it work. And when he got together with her, he had even actually said, if you're the jealous type, this isn't the relationship for you, because I have this friend, Laura, that I'm just not willing to give up. And so it was crazy how it all unfolded. And so he tried. He stayed with his daughter's mom until she was 3 months old. And, he came to my house and he was just like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." I'm driving up to this lake. We live in Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes, and driving up to this lake, it takes me 2 hours there and 2 hours back just because I don't want to go home. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, you tried." And so he went and broke up with her and still wanted to be a huge part in his daughter's life and is. He's an amazing dad. Anyways, we got together pretty pretty quick after that. I mean, actually, even that night, like we hung out with some friends and nothing happened, but we cuddled and it was almost like that like Ross and Rachel story. Like he went to put his hand on my hip and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are we doing here?" And we laughed and we still laugh about it. Yeah, and then things just happened really quickly. We had known each other, for 10 years. We were both in our 30s. And so this was like November of 2009. And in December, he asked me, to move in the following year. So I moved in and the next year, 2010, and we got engaged that summer and married the next summer. So it was just, and we had a ready-made family.
Yeah, you did have a ready-made family. Wow, I love it. What a story. Like, you couldn't see that, you couldn't see it coming, right? Like, in fact, when you get to the part where, like this other woman's pregnant, you think, okay, how are you going to get out of this one? But it sounds like you were meant to be together. And I love the Ross and Rachel analogy, right? Like lots of romantic tension there, but very satisfying when you finally got together. So, when did things start to feel like they weren't going so well?
Well, unfortunately, pretty quickly, like 6 months into our relationship. So before we even got married, um, we were out one night at a party of my sister's, and a friend of mine was there, and I just that's when it started. That's when I started like worrying about him talking to other women, cheating on me, and I thought he got my friend's number and I thought something had started happening there and it just started spiraling from there.
Mm, gosh. Well, that sounds scary. Like he got her number, and I can see why that would be make you nervous. And so you thought he had romantic intentions toward her.
Yeah, and I didn't even know if he had her number. I thought, like, these were all stories
Oh,
in my head. There was never a confirmation,
okay, okay.
never a confirmation, but I just had this feeling like they had this attraction or connection. And
Wow.
I just started, telling myself this story that something was going on and I felt like they were flirty and yeah, I just had this gut feeling.
Okay, gotcha. And and it made you jealous. It sounds like,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds scary, especially like you're just in the excitement of this relationship with someone you've known for all this time. And so this really kind of puts a big dent in that, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did.
Yeah. So, but you went on to get married 6 months later, it sounds like.
We did.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't enough of it didn't deter you. Like you still knew this was your guy.
I still knew. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
And was he saying like, no, I didn't get her number or it didn't mean anything or like, was he defending himself or?
Yeah, he was defending himself and he was getting pretty upset and angry about it. And, it was just a side that I had never seen of him. And I had these expectations that he was just going to be like, "No, I love you," and just be this reassuring guy. And he got super defensive and it was really hard.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, and you're seeing a side of him you're not enjoying either from
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys get married. Like you're like, we can still work this out. Everything's gonna be fine. So then what? I mean, what happened? When did it start to get to be or well, what kinds of things went on in your marriage that were feeling painful?
Oh gosh. Well, I was shopping for pain all the time, all the time. Looking through his phone. I mean, I did some really embarrassing things, now that I look back. I mean, getting phone records. I became this private investigator. Um, Getting phone records like from before we even had a phone plan together. Like I was making this my full-time job to try and bust him. Looking at his emails, just it was just constant. Um, and I was stressed. It was just stressing me out. And then I was just mad at him with no real concrete evidence that he had ever done anything. I mean, there was this one night that I was gone. I was going shopping with my sister, and I just had this feeling that she was going to come over. She knew I was going somewhere that night, and we used to smoke cigarettes. And so in the garage, I dumped out the ashtray and I'm like, well, I'll know if she was here if there's a different cigarette butt. I, of course, asked him about it. I had no problem saying everything that came to my mind. He denied, that anybody was here. And then I had like found, I mean, it's embarrassing to say, but like a piece of hair on our bathroom floor that I thought looked like hers. I mean, I'm literally picking up hairs on the bathroom floor to check things out and bringing it up. I mean, and he would be like, "You've got to be kidding me. You should be embarrassed of yourself." He would start to get really angry with me. And then this just continued for years, and she kind of went away, but then it was somebody else. I would be, I don't know. I just would find somebody else. Oh, well, I think you're attracted to her. And then start analyzing that. It just kept going and going and going.
So, but it sounds like from the way you're saying it, there really never was like he never really or was he? Like I'm like curious. Like was he are you saying like this was all things that you kind of made up, or you were just nervous? You were just afraid that he was
I never had concrete evidence, so
okay.
I had
Gotcha.
things that I couldn't
Well,
prove. And he's like, if you're looking for bad things, you're going to find it. That's what he would say. And I was like, well, not if you're not doing anything, Yeah. So I never had any concrete evidence with that. But, I was always thinking about he's talking to somebody, he's on his phone, the social media.
all right. So, and then you felt like he was a narcissist at some
Yeah.
point. So, what
Yeah.
made you think so?
Because he would just turn everything around on me. Any sort of argument we had, it was never his fault. It was always my fault. I mean, I guess, for example, we had a daughter pretty soon after we got married. So that next year we had a baby. And before we got together, I had sat him down and said, I want to get married and I want to have kids, multiple kids. And I love your daughter and she's not mine. I would love a couple of our own. And so after we had our daughter, Cece, he, I wanted to get pregnant again right away because, my clock was ticking. I'm in my 30s. Like, I want to complete our family, even if we're not happy right now. And so, even from the beginning, before we got married, I was controlling. I was like, this is what I want. And if you don't, you know, give me what I want, then we shouldn't do this. And so, anyways, I wanted to have a baby right after basically we had our first. And he was like, no, I don't want to have any more. And I was just devastated. I'm like, what? Like, we talked about this. This was a deal breaker. I mean, I would say things like that. Mm. And I also wasn't going to make him have another baby. I didn't want to deal with that resentment for the rest of my life because I saw how that went. And so we fought about it for months, and then he finally was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for Cece because she's so upset when Zoe goes home. And I see, how lonely she is without a sibling. And I'm like, okay, sound good. Think whatever the reason is, it doesn't yeah. So we decide to start trying, and I got pregnant immediately, and I had a miscarriage. And then we tried again, and I had another miscarriage. And it was almost like, okay, maybe this is a sign. I'm even telling myself, you know, and so then we try one more time, and we're like, if I miscarry again, then we're not going to try anymore. It's not meant to be. So we try again, and I get pregnant with twins.
Oh my
You
God.
didn't even want one, but now we're having two.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Oh
thankfully we did
man.
not miscarry. We have, beautiful, healthy kids, boy, girl, twins. But after that, any problem we had with finances, or if I was upset or tired with the kids or anything, it was like, you did this. You're the one who made me do this. Everything, got turned around on me. It was all my fault. Yeah. I had a friend who I would call all the time, crying, telling her all of my woes. I was just always upset. We were always fighting. I would cry for days, and we would just have this cold war for days or weeks where he would just be angry, stonewall me, and I would be crying every day, like, why is this happening to me? And I would talk to my friend, this one friend, and one day she was just like, he's a narcissist. So then I started Googling narcissist, and I'm like, oh, and taking the quizzes, oh my gosh. Yes, he is a narcissist.
And so because he was able to turn everything around, everything was always your fault just
Yeah.
because you guys have twins. Like, because you made him have this other baby,
Yeah.
which it sounds like he, conceded to too. And so yeah, your friend called him out, and then he checked enough of those boxes on the online quiz. Wow. Harsh. It's very stressful. And so that, I think, feeling like he's a narcissist brings a degree of hopelessness about the situation too. Yeah. So you got pretty deflated about your marriage ever being great at that point, it sounds like.
Yeah. We couldn't have any conversations. Any conversations. They just turned into arguments. He would get mad, yell, say hurtful things. He never swore at me or name called, but it was yelling, and he could say some pretty harsh, sarcastic things. And so, yeah, it would just get ugly. And then I would just cry and cry. And I also was drinking and smoking marijuana. That was not helping the situation. I know, causing my emotions to take over. Yeah. And just wanting to start fights. And I know it just didn't help my head and the stories that I was telling myself.
So I think this part is so relatable. Like, I mean, a lot of people drink and a lot of people smoke marijuana, and they can make you emotional. And I can identify with just kind of wanting to fight. Like, I wanted to have a fight with my husband. And so it sounds like you're similar. Like there was some sort of, I don't know, siren call to like, well, let's get it all out. Was there a moment when you thought, okay, we can't go on like this?
Lots of moments like that. And I just didn't know what to do. After I had our first daughter, I ended up losing my job. I became a stay-at-home mom. So here I am. Now we've got 4 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's like, what am I going to do? I owned a wellness business, but it wasn't making enough for me to pick up and go anywhere. And I knew I still wanted to be home with my kids. And if I left, I was going to be working full time. When would I see my kids? And then I also knew I couldn't handle having my kids with another woman if he got together with somebody else. So yeah, there was lots of times where I was just like, this is never going to work, but I don't know what else to do. I'm in this. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay with them until the kids are older. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds really depressing and just heavy. You're both kind of like, okay, we're trapped and we're just gonna stick it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, I was really trying to find peace, like, and to find a way, to make things better. I did quit drinking in 2019. I'm like, if I don't quit drinking, like this is gonna kill our marriage even faster. Like I've got to stop this, and just for myself too. And I wanted to be a better mom. I wanted to be the best Laura I could be. I still didn't stop smoking marijuana at that point. I have to say that will come later, but yeah. So I was trying, I was going to like these personal growth seminars with my wellness company. I was really seeing changes in myself, but he wasn't seeing it in me because I was still accusing him of cheating on me. I just couldn't stop. And then, oh gosh, we just kept going. And I found a church because I'm like, maybe I'll find it there, you know, I- but I was looking for peace anywhere that I could find it because I'm laying in bed every night. Like, how does a stay-at-home mom divorce her husband? Like, what do I do? What kind of assistance can I get? How can I pay for an attorney?
Oh, it sounds horrible. It sounds lonely. It sounds dark. And yeah, like that's what you were Googling. That's how trapped you felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, so what happened?
Gosh, we get to, well, I ended up meeting this lady online who's like a healer. And somehow we just became really good friends. And she actually started telling me, Laura, when you start respecting him and when you stop accusing him of cheating on you, it's all going to go away. And I was like, what? Me? Respect him? Like, he's not even respectable. What do you mean? But I started to listen to her and she would tell me, you just got to tell yourself that's not me anymore. And you just got to, get it out of your head. And so, yeah, I met her. And then she had even invited me to quit smoking pot. She's like, that's going to really help. So I did. I did. I was like, okay, I'm done. And then there was another girl that I thought I saw an email from a girl from his high school, and she had just started liking all these posts on Facebook. I was just obsessed with it because I knew I saw an email from her. And at this point, we were trying to decide also whether we were going to buy this entertainment business, this where we'd be, hosting. We'd be going to bars here and there, not all the time, but he was he was just like, I just don't think we can buy this business because I don't know if we're going to be together. I think we're going to end up getting a divorce because I just can't take this anymore. And he's like, and there's no way I can buy this business with you and have you accusing me of cheating on you every time we walk into a bar because there's going to be somebody that you're going to think all the time.
So, like, your heart stops beating at this point because he is now saying, like, we're done. Before you're both trapped. Now he's saying, I might actually be out.
Yeah. Yeah. He was done. He seemed, and I could just tell it was so different than any other fight that we had had. The D word had been thrown around before, but he would just say to me, why don't you just get a divorce if you're so unhappy? Like he would say that, never he was going to get a divorce. So yeah, I was like, oh, I've got to do something because when I heard that, even though I'd been looking about how to get out, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. He was my best friend. And really deep down, there were a lot of times where I would be like, I really don't believe he's cheating on me. I don't know. I just can't stop this train in my head. Yeah. So
That's so accountable, Laura. That's incredible. Like part of you felt like this is my issue and not his. Is that true?
yeah, a lot of times.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now you're really terrified.
Yeah.
Something's gotta change. What did you do?
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, I've just gotta do something, change something until we buy this business. So when we get divorced, I can take this business and run it myself. And that is going to be my ticket out. That's what I was thinking, Laura.
I, I love the strategy. You had a plan. Okay, go.
I'm talking to a friend of mine who is going through a similar thing. Well, she's unhappy in her marriage. The story was not the same. But she tells me about this book she was invited to read by her therapist called This Is How My Marriage Ends. And she tells me to read it. It's super validating, she said. And so I read it and I've just become thoroughly depressed. It was a guy who ended up getting divorced and he did become a marriage or a relationship coach because he did figure out the things that, he did to contribute to the breakdown of their marriage. However, that was not going to help me. And so I ended up right after that learning about you, thankfully, from this friend at church who was a counselor. And I had been confiding in her about my marriage. And my mom had recently passed away also. And she was just there for me. And so she brought up your podcast and your book one day. She's like, have you ever heard of Laura Doyle and the Empowered Wife? And I'm like, no. And she's just like, check it out. She's like, when I'm cleaning, I'll just be listening to her podcast. And I was like, okay. And so I got your book on Audible. I literally listened to it in one day. I couldn't get enough. I started binging the podcasts. I just was like, oh my gosh. And then I got on your website and I'm like, I need the roadmap. I just started printing everything out because this was the only thing that I'd ever heard that had given me hope. I mean, I have dragged him to counseling a million times. And so, yeah, your book and your podcast gave me hope. It just, ugh, it was, it was amazing. And the fact that I didn't have to tell him about it, and I could try it on my own, that was huge.
Yeah. So you tried everything. You tried a lot of stuff.
I did.
And this felt different. It gave you hope.
It did. Because I'm hearing women on the podcast that have actually had other women in their life. They had concrete evidence and they're fixing their marriage. And I'm like, I can do that. Regardless if he has or has not had another woman, I am in this marriage. I love this man. I don't want to break up our family. I don't want my kids growing up in a broken home.
Mm.
I want to be with my kids all the time. I mean, that was a big part of it too. I don't want to be away from my kids. And if I've got to make this work, even if something has happened, I'm going to do it because I want to be with my kids.
Ugh. It gives you chills because even though things are super dark, like you are clear on what you want. This is your desire. This is the way your heart is pointing you. And and then you hear women on the podcast who've transformed their marriages, fixed it, even though there's been an actual affair. So you're like, okay, I can do this. And you get inspired, it sounds like. What did you start doing differently than you had been doing before?
I had to start with duct tape. I just had to literally use so much duct tape. Yeah. That's the only tool I did for a little while. But I have to say that worked. I mean, he was probably like, oh, thank goodness. She has finally, she is quiet, you know?
Did you feel like a
Because I,
mute? It's just
I did a little. I did. Yeah, I would just, like sit in the car. I mean, there was this one night we were out doing our trivia business and he was making a Facebook post and I was showing him how to tag somebody in it. And when he went to tag me in it, like one of the suggested people was this girl that I was accusing him of cheating on me with, the most recent. And it killed me because I wanted to be like, well, why is she the suggested? That's got to be because you're, constantly contacting her. And I didn't. And we were like an hour away from home. And I literally just was silent the whole ride home. And I was deep breathing and I just am going to duct tape. And you know what I also was hearing from you was what I focus on increases. And I knew that I was manifesting a lot of this stuff. I just knew it. Once I heard you say those words, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm bringing this on myself. I've got a good man.
Wow. Okay, so you have this is a big, it's like bait in a way. You see this, like this woman suggested on Facebook, and you decide, I'm not going to say anything. And you stay quiet for a whole hour in the car.
I pretended like I was sleeping on the ride home. And I just kept telling myself and hearing your voice saying what we focus on increases, and that I need to get off of this paper and asking leading questions. I just kept hearing all of these things, that I had been learning from your podcast and from your book. And I'm like, I have to stop or he is going to divorce me. So that was really it. I mean, also hearing him in my head, like, we're going to get a divorce if I don't stop this. And so I had to.
You found a way. You found a way. I love that. I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of commitment to be. That's where the rubber meets the road. You're in the moment and you manage not to say anything. So duct tape, really good. That's amazing. So what else? Are you so you're duct taping in other situations too? Like this was a really memorable, maybe first time that you did it.
Yeah.
Were there other things where you were like, I can say
Oh,
something?
absolutely. I mean, with our kids. I mean, I thought I knew best how to parent. I was so critical of his parenting. I was constantly telling him what he was doing wrong. That was a huge issue in our relationship, was me interfering with his parenting. He has a temper and I would always say something if he, lost his temper or if he would say something I didn't think was okay. And, I felt he was especially hard on our son, Sully. And so I was constantly interfering in their relationship. And oh my gosh, he would get so angry at me. So that was part of the breakdown as well, is me interfering with his parenting. And I grew up with a dad who yelled. So it was really triggering for me. So I put all of my memories of my dad yelling on my husband, because it makes me anxious when you do that. I have dealt with anxiety and depression most of my life. And so I was putting that anxiety and depression on my husband, like he's the one who did it to me. And you've got to change for me to be okay, and you can't talk to our kids like this. Yeah. Because then I'm not going to be okay. And I'm worried you're going to make them just like me. That was my fear, that they're going to be like me because of you. And yeah, that was really hard. And I ended up getting coaching and I apologized for being disrespectful and interfering with his parenting. And it was so hard because I didn't feel like I meant it. It was a huge stretch. Huge stretch. But he said, okay, thank you. And he gave me this amazing, passionate kiss after that. And I was like, oh, wow. So it was amazing. And I noticed a bit of a difference, of how he was interacting with the kids after that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's an incredible story that you apologized to him. You apologized for telling him, basically for criticizing his fathering, how he
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah.
And that created like instant intimacy and connection and like emotional safety at your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I hear it was really hard. It was a big stretch, and I get it.
I had to apologize in the dark because I couldn't look at him when I did it. And I had to whisper. Yeah, my first few apologies, they were in the dark in bed because it was so hard for me, so vulnerable to apologize to him. That was probably my second apology to him. My first apology was like a blanket apology. I apologize for being disrespectful when I've been critical and controlling all of these years and untrusting. So yeah,
How did he respond to that?
he said thank you and gave me a hug. And I have to say, a couple weeks later, things were already shifting. I mean, we were away at this training for this new business we bought, and we were at this training, and all of a sudden he has his hand on my leg, and that hadn't happened in so long. But I was just feeling so confident and so magnetic. I don't know, like talking to all of the people at the training, and it just, yeah, it was just starting to change. And yeah, that weekend we had PI for the first time in a long time because the PI had gone missing for a very long time. But apparently I was just really repelling.
Oh my God. So just a couple weeks in, like already his hands on your leg and things are like it's heating up in the bedroom again. And you're noticing a shift pretty quick through this incredible accountability. And I love that you just did it. You apologized in the dark and in whispers because it felt so vulnerable, but you did it. And it just takes so much humility to own your part, even when there's plenty to point to the other person what they did wrong.
Yeah.
You changed your focus and just became super accountable. So things are starting to improve, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I love it. Okay, so what else? What else did you do different?
Well, what else did I do different? I was, relinquishing control of his paper, really getting on my paper and, seeing what made me happy, really starting to do some self-care. I started getting private coaching. I became part of your community, which was a lifeline for me. Oh my gosh. It was just amazing. But I just started to do gratitude. I just started laying on the gratitude. And I really had to get help with that from coaching. And after after she helped me dig deep and find gratitudes, it opened the floodgates. I mean, I just realized how lucky I was. Like, I've been a stay-at-home mom all these years with my kids. What a gift that he has given me. He goes to work every day and I get to be home with our kids. That's amazing. I mean, he comes home every day. He doesn't go out to the bars, but I really did realize how lucky I was. I mean, he takes care of my family. My mom passed away and my dad is very sick and kidney failure, and he helps my dad and my sister. I've got a sister with a brain injury that lives with my dad, and he's just so helpful with my family. When my mom passed, it was like his mom passed. He was so sad. I mean, and very loving to me. This was right before the breakdown where I thought, maybe my mom's passing is going to bring us together. But it didn't. For a little bit, it did. But yeah, I just really started to dig deep with that gratitude, and that changed my heart. I mean, it really helped get rid of that resentment. I had been living such a resentful life, resentful to everyone. I mean, not just my husband. And it just changed my heart. Yeah.
So you started telling him the things you were grateful for, or was this just mostly making your own list?
I started making my own list, but I did actually right away send him a text message. I think the first time we were doing that, I sent him a message just saying, I appreciate that you go home or that you go to work and you come home every night.
Wow.
And I believe in one of them, I ended up saying, and that you're so faithful to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I just did that like, I went to the store, I bought milk and bread. No, that was like a huge thing for you to say, right?
Yeah.
Because that was the big bugaboo.
Yeah.
So, wow. Well, and I hear this really changed your heart, making these, like changing your focus, focusing on what you wanted more of.
Yeah. I did end up, having a spouse fulfilling prophecy, that I know you love me and I trust you. That came after one of my apologies for not trusting him and accusing him of cheating on me all those years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was he respond? Did he know what you were up to, or was he like, my wife's had a personality transplant or been abducted by aliens? Like, what's going? Like, how was he
He did not
responding?
know. He had no idea and I couldn't believe it it because of such huge changes. Just the way I was speaking, I'd be so nervous to experiment, with the skills where the I hear you. I mean, that was another thing. Like, I started listening to him. I used to just talk over him. He couldn't get a word in edgewise. He would talk and I would talk over him. I just remembered he would just look at me and be like, and then he'd be quiet, because I always had something to say. I was always waiting to speak, and he did not feel heard. I did not create a safe place for him at all. So just the I hear you, I think was huge. And he started mirroring that. He says, I hear you all the time now, which I love. I just love it when I start hearing the things that I've said coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, it shows you had a lot of influence over the culture at your house. It sounds like.
Yeah, which I didn't think I did.
No, didn't seem like it.
No,
Wow. So
I,
you're having a lot of magic happen
a
from these
lot of love.
experiments.
I couldn't believe it. I just I just never thought it would really work for me. I mean, I'm hearing all these women, but I'm like, I was just so down in our relationship that I was like, there's just no way. There's no way this is going to work for me. But obviously, I didn't focus on that for long because what you focus on increases. And we were getting closer. And yeah, it was like magic. And yeah,
Was there a moment when you said, okay, this is really working? I did it.
yeah. I mean, I don't remember when, but within a couple months, I'm like, wow, this is working. That's another thing, that smile campaign. I started smiling when he would walk in the door instead of just unloading on the day, on him about what a hard day I had with these kids. I started smiling and being happy when he got home.
And you didn't know you were negative or that you were being eaten alive by resentment. You just thought this is life. And, and now you can look back in retrospect and you can see the day that resentment and negativity fell away.
Yeah. And it really did feel like this is life. That's the home I grew up in. I love my parents. Do not get me wrong. But I grew up in a house where it was negative, complaining, fighting. My mom and dad were together for 50 years, but they fought all the time. I laid in bed as a kid worrying, are they going to get divorced? It's what we knew. Yeah.
Yeah, if nobody ever teaches you different, like where are you supposed to learn that, right? It's not in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what is your marriage like now?
Well, so I have to say, we did we did get really great. Like things got as good as I could stand it. Like it was amazing. We even went on a family trip to Hawaii, which I never thought that would happen. Our whole family went on a trip to Hawaii. And then 6 months later, he and I went on a trip to New York all by ourselves. I mean, it was just amazing and romantic, both trips. It was just amazing. And doing things I just never thought would be possible. So yeah, everything was really, really great. And I ended up expressing a desire to become a coach and go to coaches training. And he said yes, which I never thought that would happen either. Yeah, best day of my life. Well, one of them. And so, yeah, everything was going really, really well. And then at the end of coaches training, I got certified and I was like, oh my gosh, like I have never been so happy in my life and cured my anxiety and depression. And I was like, I think I could maybe like smoke some pot socially. I think I might want to do that. And so, well, I decided to do that. And the moment I did that, I was in my head, I was like, this isn't going to go. This isn't going to go well. I knew it in my head and I did it anyways. And so I went down that road and ended up just really finding out that I I have an addiction to things like that and I just can't handle doing things socially as much as I would love to. And so that happened and then things just started to deteriorate a little bit again. We still were doing amazing compared to the bad old days. We still have not had the fights that we've had. I haven't cried for days, but things just started going backwards. This last summer, I just started going back to my old ways of thinking he was attracted to somebody else. And just in November, we were going through some pictures on his phone to send about our basement. I was not shopping for pain. I had completely stopped doing that. He was looking at pictures and all of a sudden this video came up. This inappropriate video was, it didn't show faces or anything like that, but it was an inappropriate video. And I assumed it was him and this girl and I accused him. And he's like, no, this could be from one of my friends. You know, guys send videos all the time. He's like, I don't know what this is, you know, and he ended up getting really upset. And I diffused it. I apologized for being disrespectful, but then it just kept playing in my head. And I just kept getting more and more depressed. And I got coaching actually, and I got a lot of help with it. And thankfully, to somebody in this community, they also helped me realize that I needed to stop smoking pot. I mean,
Oh,
that,
that's like,
that, that wasn't helping the stories I was telling myself and I had a problem. And yeah. And just something I never thought I would have gotten from this community. Just amazing. And so, yeah. So I'm almost 90 days sober and things are already back to where they were before then. I've even let the video go and decided to trust my husband because I don't have concrete evidence and I know he loves me. And then this morning I sent him a little spicy picture and he sent me a message back and he's like, hello, gorgeous, you know, and, you know, he never would have done that in the past. Well, I probably wouldn't have sent those pictures either, and I called him and I was just like, oh my gosh, he took the kids tonight and our dogs so I could be here and do this without any distractions. And he just gave me the most passionate kiss before he left tonight.
so what I hear is like, hey, we hit a pothole again. And you climbed out of it triumphantly. And it
Yeah.
actually gives you more inner strength knowing you'll never be stuck there again. You know how to get out. You've got skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That is amazing. I love that you brought this forward. Like it's not quite like the end of a Disney movie and they lived happily ever after, right? Like it got a lot better and you were loving it and feeling empowered. And then there was a challenge. There was another challenge running into that video and you knew what to do. You got through that too. So it must feel really good to get a "Hey, gorgeous" text from your husband. Yeah. Like 90 days ago or, a little more than that. You couldn't have seen that coming. You thought you were stuck again. Oh my gosh, that is inspiring. That's exhilarating that you know what to do. You know what to do. So I give you all
Yeah.
the credit. And you have stopped a lot of things. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about is so when you feel the temptation to, because I really get, because you tell it so accountably, Laura, that you like focusing on the cigarette butt in the ashtray or an email message with a woman's name in it or whatever. Like it's something like that's in you. Maybe before you got with your husband, you already had like a temptation to kind of focus on that, right? This is just
Yes.
kind of a malware that can play in your operating system, I'll say. It sounds
Yeah.
like is that fair to say? That's on your paper. That's on your
Yeah.
paper.
I've
Okay.
lived in fear my whole life. My whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. It just feels normal, right? That's how it always was. And so here it is again.
Yeah.
But you were able to arrest it. And you've also quit drinking and you've quit smoking pot. Is it similar? Is it a similar process for all three of those things that you've quit? I mean, what insights do you have about that? Because I think this is really valuable for anybody who is stuck in that malware is running and it doesn't seem like something she can stop doing.
Thank you. And thank you for just providing this safe space for me to share this with you. But yeah, it really is similar because I have to stop and ask myself, how is this serving me? Whether it's me, having that old malware of, my husband's got to be cheating on me, or I need to drink to feel better, or I need to smoke to feel better. And when I think those thoughts, how is that going to serve me? Is that going to, get me to where I want to be? Whether it's in my relationship or just for me to be proud of myself and for my kids.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a pretty disciplined gratitude practice now. And that's part of how you did this. So I love that. And so thank you for just kind of, yeah, giving us your insights about that. And how would you say this has affected those four kids?
Oh, it's so different. So different. I just see like my husband's hanging out downstairs with my son Sully now, playing Fortnite, it just makes my heart so happy. Our teenage daughter, Cece, he'll drive her, to youth group and she opens up to him and really shares a lot about what's going on in her life. And yeah, our daughter Sophie is just all about him, like always wants to be near him. Yeah. So I just see that things are calmer in our house. There's so, there's just so much love every night when they go to bed. We're both here. I mean, hearing him say that he loves them every night and hearing, them say it first to him, a little boy too, love you, dad, every night. It's just amazing. Like I just sit here and just feel so grateful, like overwhelmed with gratitude of how much how much love there is in this house. Yeah.
You guys are the Waltons. It sounds
We're getting there.
getting there. I love it. I love it. It sounds very wholesome and sweet. So I love that. So Laura, if you could talk to someone who is where you were, where she is really anxious. She's depressed. She thinks her husband is cheating. She's constantly worried about it. And he is not interested in working on it. He's done. He's saying, like, we're not going to be together. And she wants what you have now, where he's texting you, hey, gorgeous, and taking all the kids out so you can be on a podcast. And yeah, playing Fortnite with your boy Sully, or like, and that there's all this love, and you can see how close he is with your children. Like, she wants what you have now, and she is where you were. What would you say to her? What's your best tip?
Oh, start with gratitude. Start with gratitude. Really dig deep and find the things that you're grateful for. Apply that duct tape. Apply it so you don't say something to hurt the man that you love. Yeah, really take care of yourself. Start figuring out what makes you happy. Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was everybody else's job to make me happy. So really find out what makes you happy. Yeah, I think gratitude is the place to start with the anxiety and the depression. And as hard as it is to find things to be grateful for, that's where it's at.
I love it. I love it. And you have great stories, about just realizing, like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, hey, I'm grateful for that. So I think that's a fantastic tip. And yeah, and of course, yeah, the self-care too. What would you say if you could go back in time and tell Laura what you know now?
Oh gosh, you just have no idea how good it's gonna get or how good it can be. And also it's okay. It's okay for not knowing what you didn't know. I was so hard on myself. Just so hard on myself. And I just would go back and give her a big hug because I needed a hug from myself. I needed to learn how to love myself.
Yeah, I love your compassion for yourself, your empathy for yourself, like this gentleness instead of like maybe judgment or disappointment or expectations that you should know what you didn't know yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that. Well, Laura, congratulations on this incredible transformation. I'm really impressed and I admire you so much. I want to give you the Best Wife Award, which you richly deserve. Yes, congratulations for creating, like, this has touched 6 people's lives, right? You have love you dad home now instead of where you weren't going to even be together anymore. And I just think the world needs more women like you. So
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you so much. I've been waiting to get one of those from you.
Yay! Here it is. Here it is. It really is such a moment of celebration and accomplishment. Yeah, victory. It's a victory to be where you are right now. And I couldn't be more grateful to get to hear the story and yeah, be on the journey with you, Laura, and know that you're a coach now who's you passing it on to other women who, yeah, you're standing for them as well. So just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I just am eternally grateful to you and what you've done. You've helped save my marriage. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So here's something Laura used to transform her relationship that you can try tonight. Gratitude. Laura was living in resentment for years. She'd been consumed with suspicion and fear that her husband was cheating. But then she started practicing gratitude and she even texted him, I appreciate that you're so faithful to me. And did you hear what happened? It changed her heart. The resentment started melting away. Because here's the truth. You can either be grateful or you can be resentful, but you can't be both. It's all about which perspectives you're wearing. So tonight, here's what I invite you to do. Give your husband 3 gratitudes. You can text them, you can write them on a Post-it note or say them out loud. 3 things that you appreciate about him today. Maybe it's, I appreciate that you go to work every day, or I love how you make me laugh, or thank you for taking out the trash. It can be small things or big things. Just notice what he does and express gratitude for it. And if you're feeling really brave, you can add how it makes you feel. So I appreciate that you work hard for us. Makes me feel so secure. Or I love how you make me laugh. It makes me feel joyful. Or I love how you take out the trash every day. It makes me feel like the queen. Because gratitude is the antidote to resentment. And what you focus on grows. And if you want tips, tricks, and traps to avoid when you express gratitude and to try this experiment along with thousands of other women who are also experimenting with gratitude this week, then including my certified relationship coaches, come join us in the Adored Wife community at adoredwife.com. This takes some courage to express gratitude when you're feeling resentful, especially, but you can do it tonight. Are you ready to try it? Okay, then go, go, go.